Hi guys, we're on page 61. We're going to do some word problems on this video. Sorry my voice is still a little bit scratchy, but bear with me if you can. So I've gone ahead and I've set up the charts that we've done before. If you need a little review on these coin problems or setting up the charts, you can look back on section 2F, page 36. This is in your prior Try 1 book, number 5 specifically. So basically, we're going to use two variables, and we didn't use two variables back in Unit 2, but we're going to use two variables, and then we're going to set up our equations, and we're going to solve using substitution, because of course that's what this unit is about, this section of this unit. So I've gone ahead and done the shell of the chart, and we're going to fill it in together. So if you need a minute to go ahead and make your chart, then you can pause the video. So she's got 22 coins in total, dimes and nickel, or quarters and dimes, and you've got the total amount of money. So we can go ahead and we can fill out the value of a quarter is 25 cents, and we're going to let let me write this first. Let Q equal the number of quarters. This is a real important start, the let statement. This is telling me what these guys stand for. You might think I might be able to figure it out myself, but you need to formally define what your variables are. And then D is going to equal the number of dimes. So if we go over to fill out the chart, the number of coins that are quarters are Q, and their total value is 0.25 Q. Similarly, dimes look like this. And then we go ahead and we add up, or we know what we have. We have 22. Our total is 22. And our total is going to equal $4.45. So now that we've set up the chart, we can go ahead and we can write our two equations. Remember, for substitution, we need two equations. So I'm going to kind of break up my space here, and I'm going to do the equations. The first equation is going to be related to how many total coins I have. Q plus D equals 22. The second equation is going to have to do with the value of the coins. So 0.25 plus for the quarters plus 10 cents for each dime is going to equal $4.45. So we have two equations, and I inaccurately said you need two equations because you have two variables. We also had two equations when we did it back in Unit 2. We're just using two variables now, so that's what I should have said. So we've got two equations, and I need to decide what I'm going to use for substitution. Well, these guys have coefficients in front of both variables. This equation has got a nice, neat coefficient of 1 in front of both of the variables. So I am going to pick this equation to manipulate, and I'm going to say D is equal to 22 minus Q. And this is going to be what I am going to use to substitute into the other equation. So let me go get the eraser so I can have a little bit more room to finish this up. So I'm going to rewrite this equation right here, and instead of D, I'm going to use an equivalent expression for D, which is 22 minus Q. So I'm going to start over here, 0.25 Q plus 0.10, 22 minus Q equals the rest of this equation over here, which is 445. So if you distribute, which we need to do, 0.25 Q plus 2.2 minus 0.10 Q equals 445. Be careful with your decimals. Collect your like terms, There they are. I now have 0.15 Q, and I'm going to subtract 2.2 from both sides, and that's going to leave me 0.15 Q equaling 2.25. Of course, you've got a calculator. This goes pretty quick with the calculator. Divide both sides to get the Q alone, and we end up with Q equals 15. If you get a really funky number as your answer for Q, you've done something wrong. So the quarters are 15. It says, how many dimes does she have? So I guarantee on a multiple choice test, 15 would probably be choice A, but that's not the correct answer to the question. So she's got 15 quarters, but more importantly, to answer the question, she has 7 dimes. Oh, big M. And that's the answer to this particular question. Let's go set up this one pretty quickly. Again, I've already made the shell of the chart. This is similar, but different. We've got all pens here, but we've got 2 kinds of pens. So I'm letting pen 1, I'm going to let X be pen type number 1. So I'm just going to call it pen 1, and Y is going to be pen 2. So that's how my chart is going to set up. The number of pens, I don't know that I have this set up right. The number of pens is actually X, yuck, and Y. The value of the pens, I needed another column here. So do like we did in this problem up above. I'm not going to erase the whole thing, but you need the number of pens, the value, and then your total is going to be similar to what we have up above. So once we've got this, we go and we look at the information they give us. This X plus Y is going to equal 45, and the total value is going to equal $398.75. Lots of pens. So I'm going to go set up my 2 equations and see what makes sense for me to substitute. The first equation is pretty simple. Your 2 kinds of pens added together need to give you the 45 pens that you have. Let me erase this because I'm going to use the space, I think, on the other side. The second one has to do, of course, with the value, just like our problem up above it. We're going to have 8.5x plus 9.75y equaling the total amount that they're worth. So again, like the problem up above, I think I'm going to go ahead and just solve for x and use this guy to plug in to that equation as the substitution part. So let's carry on. I'm going to bring this equation down here, 8.75, and instead of x, I'm going to use this guy, 45 minus y. And then the rest of the equation just as it's set up originally. Again, lots of decimals, got to be careful here doing your adding and subtracting, but one good check is at the end if your answer's reasonable. So let's do the distribution. I get 382.5 minus 8.5y plus 9.75y equaling the total amount again. So I'm collecting these like terms over here, and I'm subtracting the 382.5 from both sides, and I end up with 1.25y equaling 16.25. I was afraid I'm running out of room, but you can add an extra step or 2 in here. That would be what I would expect to see on a test or quiz. Dividing, and you end up with y equals 13. Going back to the original problem, I have figured out that pen number 2, there are 13 of them. Is that what they're asking me for? How many of each kind? So that's good. I can answer both of those. Pen number 2, 13 at 9.75 each. And pen number 1, we have 42 to make the 45 total, and they were at $8.50 each. And your answer would look like this. Boxing it up is nice. Okay, thanks for listening. See you next time.